Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great most on the room wall. Shalom to the brothers doing the white saying the truth. I got a little article that I got here, and just reading it summed up more or less the current modern approach to to masculinity, to traditional masculinity, and how it's something that is in decline within society. And it's ironic because now is the time we're coming into where it's going to be one of the key things that's going to be essential, for any kind of survival with, within what's getting ready to take place, man. With, Esau coming down with a hammer, with, further terrors coming upon the earth, and what with everyone, the whole world, basically being tested. So I got this on Forbes. It says James Cameron, Avatar director, calls testosterone a toxin. Here's the response. And it's funny as hell because you got the new Avatar movie just come out, which the first one came out in 2009. I ain't checked it. I'll probably watch it sometime next week. But I've seen reviews. It's I don't know. I have to see it to kind of see what it's about. But for even that quote to be getting pushed out, that shows this guy is basically brought into the modern kind of idea of manhood and masculinity, where you don't have to be aligned with the traditional aspects, and in fact those are dangerous, those are toxic, those bring about behaviors which society doesn't want, which for for the modern kind of climate it can run, because why, as far as like most tasks, most avenues of society that require that primal energy, let's say, there's men that basically go into it. It's like when you're dealing with firefighters, with police officers, the military, whatever, where there's people that have gone and filled out them roles. So the guy that's working in an office now, he doesn't have to engage with that. And then it's with how order's been, how Esau has set up his order of things now. There's very few times where for you to function within society that raw primal energy is going to be needed. But that doesn't mean that it's something deadly. That's basically it's an illusion. It's it's a film, it's a cloak that's basically been put over society to where, hey, that's something that could be, people can think it runs like that, but as soon as a moment of crisis comes, as soon as any form of hardship comes, that's all going to go out the window. And it's essentially going to become a thing where you'll get that's going to be a key aspect that's needed. So he says testosterone trended on Twitter on Sunday, and that's not because the hormone had somehow paid $8 to Twitter and Elon Musk to get a blue checkmark verified account. No, that didn't happen. Instead, the trending of this word was probably due to what director James Cameron had told Rebecca Keegan in an interview for The Hollywood Reporter. There he had described himself as previously a wild testosterone poisoned young man, and labeled testosterone as a toxin that you have to slowly work out of your system, which any email can tell you that's complete madness. That's insanity. There's like even now with what you call it, the last few years, maybe like 5 years plus, it's become more and more of a thing where treatment for like men to get up in age is they'll supplement themselves with extra testosterone. They might get injections or creams or whatever to sustain it, because once you lose it, a lot of them it's like guys that get into steroids. That's a big field for them, because why? They've basically fucked up their hormone balance because they've obviously been just playing with the structure of how the body's meant to be working, and then abusing that then results in the later life they're all jacked up. So they need to artificially basically maintain a way of getting the balance back. But that just shows that testosterone, even into older age, because why? It's like men can produce sperm up into their 50s and still have kids. So it's obviously something that's key throughout the whole of your life. And anyway, it's just a core baseline being a man. So it's complete insanity. But again, that's the mindset of this current place now, where it is looked at testosterone, masculinity is fundamentally looked at as toxic. Yeah, slug. So what did it say? So he said, there he described himself as previously a wild testosterone poisoned young man, and labeled testosterone as a toxin that you have to slowly work out of your system. Those statements seem to rile up the testosterone of those who are apparently hardcore fans of the hormone, leading to some "I'm alpha manly man and this is a war on men" responses. Which I don't know what the hell you're you're saying that like it's written like that's not exactly what it is. Because testosterone and manhood is masculinity is like two, they're inseparable. That may have been a bit over the top. Regardless, Cameron's statements did seem to display a fundamental misunderstanding of the biology of the hormone and what it does. Why was Cameron, who's neither a medical doctor it was neither a medical doctor nor any other type of scientist even talking about testosterone in the first place? Well, Cameron was describing what happened when he had clashes with Fox executives way back when over the budgets for Titanic and Avatar. Two of the mega hits that he had directed and engaged in F-bomb laden shouting matches. In this case, F-bomb presumably means well anyway. So there's a lot of things I did earlier I wouldn't do career-wise, and just risks that you take as a wild testosterone poisoned young man. And I always think of testosterone as a toxin that you have to slowly work out your system. So yeah, that's it's a quote that basically sums up pretty well why in the modern age, in current times, masculinity has been looked at as something that's a danger, as something that is not desired, and essentially trying to direct men towards behaving like what in a complete aversion from their nature. But let me read this. Isaiah 32 and 2 says, "And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land." So yeah, masculinity, that manhood is going to be what? That covert, that hiding from the wind. And that's something that's essential for what? For salvation to come through. This Revelation 21 and 3, and it said, "And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the power himself shall be with them and be their power." So yeah, the tabernacle is with men. It's basically men are the key role by which salvation is going to be saved, going to take place. Says what women will be saved through childbearing. They're basically not going to they're not going to be out as the soldiers. That's the role of the men. So for him to say, testosterone is a poison, that means he's completely fundamentally lacks understanding of what men's role on the planet Earth is. That's something that has been plain it's been plain as day from before. Because as far as when you look back into history, like the roles men have played has been consistent all throughout. Same for women. It's only now in the current time where everything's basically a new thing's been spawned. I read this, 1 Corinthians 6 and 9. It says, "Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves." Well, effeminate was the key one. The effeminate were not going to inherit the kingdom. Because as far as it's when you're dealing with salvation, there's a certain approach, a certain mindset you need to have. Because as well, you need to what kind of mindset. 2 Timothy 2 and 3 says, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua HaMashiach." So you need to be what? As a soldier, and be ready to endure hardness. That's one of the key purposes of testosterone, man. It allows a gateway to all these behaviors that are essentially needed for men to function. But then what? It's when you deal with women, they've got a different hormone, they've got estrogen, and that basically guides into a different set of behaviors. Which is why the men will be the covering, and the women are the ones that are going to need to be covered. So, I'll go back to Isaiah 32 and 9. It says, "Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, you women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare. Gird sackcloth upon your loins." So the women are going to be troubled. Because why? As far as it's a good example would be to just go to the present war zone that's been going on in between Ukraine and Russia, man. Out in Ukraine, there were reports from like maybe 2 weeks in or something of Russian troops grabbing up, laying hold on the women. And that's something that, and then, recently you had it where it was saying Ukrainians were doing the same thing back. And that's something that has been known to happen in every war that's happened on the face of the planet Earth, man. There are reports of that going down in Iraq, Afghanistan. During World War II, one of the famous ones is the Japanese, the rape of Nanking. When they invaded China, they came through, they raped up the whole city. They went wild. So that's something that's not been flipped. Even now, it's like the whole point of the discussion of having transgenders in sports is because why? It's because men are naturally built physically to dominate women. That's something that's not changed, and a key part of that is what? Testosterone. So these are all aspects that highlight how that men have their role, and essentially that's something that's going to be manifest. Read this, Jeremiah 30 and 5 says, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a trembling of fear and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail? all faces are turned into paleness. Yeah. And this is well, I'll read the next verse. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. Is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." So in that time of Jacob's trouble, even the men, who basically are the ones that are meant to be enduring against this, and really it's only going to be the men of the Lord, the men of Yahweh, Yahweh, they're going to be the ones who are going to endure through. Because why? They've basically been built up for the coming times. It says what? The men, they're going to be as women. They're going to have their hands upon their stomachs as a woman with travail. Because why? They're going to be overwhelmed by what's going down within this time. There's a lot of things now that are being spoken about, which are in the prophecies. You know, you go to average Joe, they're gonna be looking at you like you've got three heads. They're gonna be laughing like, oh, there's no way that's gonna happen. But when it comes to pass, that's why they're gonna be like a woman with travail. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that there is none like it. Is even the time of Jacob's trouble, we shall be saved out." And yes, it's going to be to the extent where you're going to need to be saved out. The Lord's basically going to have angels in it to preserve you from those times, and that's the only way you're going to make it. So then that's where even, you know, the carnal aspect, you know, you just going to the gym, getting muscles, you know, ain't going to be able to you know, make you persevere. That's just, you know, one of the carnal aspects. But that's why it's going to be spiritual. How the men are basically gonna be able to endure through. It's those that have been you know, built up in the spirit. But yeah, I'll leave you there. Shalom. Yahweh Shem and Shabbat.